Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting match of Jet Set Radio Future Bingo Season 4. As always, I'm AceBatOS, printing "What the fuck do you mean I don't get a week off?" since January 2022. Today we have an exciting show match for you all as two of the top bingo players go head to head in this 3-round match to find out who will win between the two of them. In the brown corner we have the ancient monk from the far-off region of Bingo Land, Crabbi, going up against the pink corner with the world record holder herself, Yomsa. And in the commentator's box today we have the duo that thought Elon Musk was from Madagascar. It's Eclaficious and 7th Ace.
Hey, welcome back to Bingo for our week off show match between the round robin and the playoffs. We have our first seeds from the round robins taking on each other in a match with no stakes. I have been
week off. I don't think you understand what that word means.
I've been legally required to inform you all that this match has no stakes, but it's going to be good bingo.
No steaks, but possibly sandwiches.
Why do you love a good sandwich?
That is a good call. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We have seen Yomsa and Crabbi play a lot in practice, and it shows off in their 4-0 number 1 seeding. And we haven't seen them play against each other on this channel, so it's going to be a very interesting one today.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how this plays out because it could go one or two ways. And I think I've said it before, and I will say it again. Matches between the top players in Bingo can either be complete blowouts, or they can be like blow for blow, really long, epic matches that go down to the final square. And I hope we get the latter, but we could well see the former, depending on the board and depending on decisions that are made. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a really good showcase of some really good bingo.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Do we have the board on screen currently? If not, we get there. So I think everybody's ready, and we can take a look at the board, and it is quite a funky one.
Oh wow, yeah, this is quite something actually. But row 4 and column 4 are kind of nuts.
Yeah, they have 4 Shibuyas, which is very wild. Usually those are very, very fast. And I'll tell you, column 3 is even crazier than it looks, with 3 Dogans and a Chuo Graffiti being
Yeah.
the premier feature.
And yeah, when you look at the column 3 and the row 4, you've got Dogan, 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 Chuo, Chuo, Hikage, and then something in Kibo, something in Highway 0. Normally, I mean, the way that the boards get generated, there's always something good in Shibuya. There's always something that you can get to quickly and pick up at the start of the game. But in this game, Shibuya seems to be the kind of the core of the game. Like, whoever gets control of Shibuya gets control of this board.
Yep, so as you were saying, it could be one of those very, very fast games between good players that just happens to spiral out of control very quickly, because Shibuya is going to be so fast and so good to pick up.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things to do when there's a board like this where there are so many strong early defaults is to think about, like, who's rooting, who roots where, like, who goes where off the start. Do the players try to, like, preempt each other and predict their movements and try to outplay them, or do they just go head to head? And given Crabbi's tendencies, I mean, we talked about it a lot in his last match against Acebats. He's a very respectful player, and he likes to go head to head in these kind of races. Given what there is on the board, we could see Crabbi play maybe a little defensive or maybe overthink slightly, just based off of what there is on the board. And, well, the only way to know is to see. And so Yomsa off to Dogan, Crabbi starting in Shibuya.
All right, so we are going to see that split from the beginning, where Crabbi. We'll see how much Crabbi wants to, or Yomsa wants to commit to Dogan, as she picks up right of street right off the start. But is she going to commit deep into Dogan and force Crabbi to do something about it, or is she going to just call that good? And it appears like she is right on out of there.
Right, and so Crabbi goes into Hikage after picking up top of bus with a keen boostless bus jump, which means here he has Cubby to pick up. There's also special on the board, which I'm not sure about it right off the start, given that you have to go left and then right to pick that up in Hikage, so I think it might just be center floating and leave in terms of getting early momentum. And really interesting here from Yomsa, she is picking up right a street center square, very powerful, and then just leaving.
That is an interesting play. I'm watching Crabbi's 3 in a row develop before the 115 mark of this game. So we're going to have to see, where Yomsa's forced to go, because Crabbi does already threaten a 3 default 3 in a row. She's going to go ahead and miss top station, get the backup, pick up that square, and has a second column worth of stuff to do, but obviously doesn't have any kind of the threat currently that Crabbi has.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this play from Yomsa, because now she can deny this column 4 bingo that's building by going to Kibo, but Crabbi kind of has free reign of the map. He could have gone into Dogan and picked up what else was in there, but with that center square secured by Yomsa, there's no real play for Crabbi to make in Dogan, despite there still being isolated platform, Air 3, and the graffiti route there. They don't really build into bingos, so Crabbi's now into Benton uncontested, knowing now that Yomsa's in Kogane, so they're splitting the map a lot this game. And so far it favors Crabbi.
Yep. Yomsa looking for a pair of Sewers souls. That's Grind 10 and Air 4. Grind being a very quick pickup, Air being not as quick, while Crabbi picks up his own Air 4, and it looked very nice. Very nice pickup from Crabbi, landing right in that area. These are very clean unlocks so far, especially from Crabbi, showing us what really solid players can do in terms of picking up squares very quickly.
Yeah, and so now he's going for the 99th special, which is sitting on that row 5, but more importantly is his column 4. Again, Yomsa should be able to deny this, but it does force her to deny it. She can't work towards whatever plan that she's building while that bingo is still being threatened. And Now, again, I'm curious to see where Crabbi goes from here after picking up what's here in 99th Street, because Benton isn't that strong outside of working towards Crabbi's bingo. The Air 4 does sit on that column 1, which is still relatively empty, but there's a bottom point default there, so I expect to see Crabbi kind of pick this up and then and really not commit much further to Benton. There is...
I want to see him to go...
Column 5 isn't bad.
Yeah. I would like to see him go to Chuo. There's Chuo Graffiti, Chuo Tricks that blocks the column 2, and it's not that many, but I think it's probably a good time. There's no bingos that Yomsa can threaten from this position, while she's going to block the row 4, the column 4, which is a default. It should be relatively easy to take care of, but that gives Crabbi control into Chuo, and I think that's going to be the best play from here.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and when you look at what else there is on the board in Kibo, there's just points in that bottom left corner, which I suppose it's not the worst thing ever, but it takes so long to get it that this is not really where Yomsa wants to be, right? And yeah, kind of as you predicted, it looks like Crabbi's now heading out to Chuo Street, which is one of the strongest remaining areas, it feels, with that Chuo Graffiti and with Tricks. Not only denying a potential bingo from Yomsa, but just giving Crabbi a bunch of points to work with. And we saw this kind of yesterday when he played Ace Bats. Crabbi getting kind of an early advantage and then just really shutting out any possible avenue of comeback for the opponent.
Yep. Crabbi putting the screws on very quickly here, as he's going to have advantageous position. Now, we do have to make sure that Yomsa, after picking up this this Kibo Soul, does have free reign of where she wants to go, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Dogen return. It does have a lot of points, and they're relatively piled up, where you can get the isolated platform, Air 3, and Graffiti. She is going to grab the tape, which I think is a smart decision, but I don't think she will commit to the tape, but maybe she will.
Committing to points, perhaps? It seems like 1 point for a big commitment of time when instead you could get out of Kibo and pick up more points in the same amount of time elsewhere.
Yep.
It's not a strategically massively powerful square right now. Crabbi now revealing that he is in Chuo Street. I think Yomsa has to respond to this, and like you said, I think Dogen is a pretty good gambit just because of the 5 points that are there on the board, being able to match Graffiti. What if Crabbi just goes Dogen now?
I think Crabbi's going Dogen, though, which would be kind of the kill punch, I think. I don't see exactly what Yomsa can do if Crabbi, who is routed straight for Dogen, goes for all of those points there instead of going for the Chuo Graffiti. Because it still blocks the same row 3, but it also just piles on a huge amount of pressure with 5 points. So I think Crabbi's going there and is going to start up what could be the power play of the game.
Yeah, this is a really good read by Crabbi, and again, he's just using his time so effectively. The way that he routes around the map means not only is he picking up fast squares, but he's getting to the next fast square fast. And it's just such good knowledge of the way that the map is structured and exactly how much time everything that he's doing takes.
Oh boy. Oh boy. This is...
Yomsa into Dogen.
Yep, this is such a good play from Crabbi, and Yomsa is just not prepared for it. The opening 3 in a row really dictated everything. Those 3 defaults in column 4 have basically forced the movement of every player at every point in this game, and I don't think anybody's playing suboptimally.
Yomsa's not spraying.
Ooh, this is good. Isolated platform downhill could get very spicy here, I think. Yomsa will win to it.
Yeah, this is a really good read by Yomsa.
That would be a great steal for her. She really needs it. Boom, picks it up. Very nice.
Yeah, good read by Yomsa to head straight for the priority soul here, and is going to get out of Dogen ahead, even if Crabbi chooses to bail. I think he's just going to commit to the Graffiti route at this point. But this is a pretty high quality steal here from Yomsa to be able to get out, and then perhaps Chuo? Air 3 on the way out?
I could see it. You definitely get air 3 on the way out, and now you re-threaten this column 3 bingo and put the matter of control into Crabby's hands and either force him out to Highway 0 where there are no real good pickups. Soda is a stinking slow pickup that far out on the map as a bonus point. But yeah, this is a really, really good play from Yomsa, and I want people to recognize how good doing side contests is basically just trying to steal points away from other people in areas where they would normally get everything. We're talking about Crabby's 5-0 in this area, and that would basically seal this game away. Instead, Yamsa's traded it up in time for down 1 point, and now she retains at least some semblance of board control. Crabby has 0 squares outside of the column 1 that go for bingos, and so she's put herself in an excellent position.
Yeah, so I'm curious now to see where Crabbi goes for this, because he does have the Dogen Graffiti, which puts him up on points. Yomsa could get into Chuo ahead if that's where she chooses to go, and I think it's likely. So where does Crabbi go from here? He can deny the column 3 with Highway 0 special, but that's so far out, it gives up a lot of time.
Crabby did not pre-spray any of Chuo. I think he goes Hikage and then goes Kogane to threaten out row 1. And that's exactly what we see him doing.
Into Charity Rail there. I really like seeing people going for boostless bus jump just whenever they're passing through Shibuya. Like, there's no reason not to if you can hit it consistently, because it just speeds up your movement through the area. So yeah, as you called it, once more correct. Crabby into Hikage, where special, he's already picked up the defaults here, which is part of his early board control. I mean, this starts him on the path to a column 5.
Yeah, it's column 1, though. That's the big play here, because the remainder squares are all in Kogane, and they're relatively... Yomsa may have to commit, or may not have to commit too far into Chuo, such that she can block Kibo points, and she does have that tape advantage. This is a good one, Ekla. This is really spicy.
This has been so very, very back and forth in terms of who has been in control of this game. And though Crabby is up on points, some really good reads by Yomsa has kept her well in this game with securing the Chuo Graffiti. We'll be back to pretty much even. It's going to take her a little bit of time, though, and we can see what Crabby will do with that time now.
This, I think, is the first misread of the game so far. Crabby expecting Yomsa to go for the bait. Yomsa does not take it. Now Crabby is committing to Chuo Graffiti. We're going to have to see where Crabby is once Yomsa marks the squares. There is 0 way to come back. And is he beyond the point of no return? Which would be brutal towards his chances of blocking any bingos or scoring any in this game.
Yeah, and it's funny because I was going to mention this when the two of them were in Dogen, that there was a very real possibility that if Yomsa started spraying in Dogen, that she would be caught past the point of no return and would likely lose everything. But she made the perfect read, didn't start spraying, went straight for the default into air. So that wasn't an issue, but we could see it now become an issue here for Crabby. Yomsa's getting through this route really, really quickly, though, so she might actually just finish things up and reveal her position here before Crabby commits.
Yeah, we'll have to see. There are the double sides that have to be taken care of, along with a little bit towards the middle, although I think she's taken care of most of that. So Crabby is going to go ahead and... No. Is Crabby actually bailing on this? Why are the brains of these players so large? It's a half or a partial into bailing out to Kogane, and this is going to be... I think Yomsa can still block because of the tape advantage, but this is going to be very, very close.
Yeah, it depends where Crabby goes, I think. If Crabby goes straight to Kibo, then Well, it's really just down to how they read it, because if Crabbi goes to Kibo and Yomsa goes to bottom point, she blocks. If they both go to Kibo, with the advantage that Crabbi has right now, it might just be enough.
I
But
don't know
as
if
you said,
it is.
Yomsa
It's
has
close.
tape.
Yeah.
It kind of comes down then to, I think, stall launch execution.
Oh boy. Well, Yomsa doesn't have to stall launch. She has the tape and can just take the forward route into landing at 250k. So that is something that she's capable of doing. Additionally, bottom point isn't quick. Even though it's a default, it is the one closest to cube. And that means Crabbi would have to do a clip into the back with Sexy Fish and then make his way out. And that would destroy any lead he has here. So I think he's going to go ahead and commit to Kibo, which is the solid play. Yomsa swinging it up by the tape before heading into Kogane. Interesting decision, but I think it can work out.
Yeah, with Tricks 35 on the board, just grabbing the tape and then heading into Sewers, I think, is fine here. Unless she really commits for Tricks 35.
She does seem to be committing, which I find interesting. Crabbi goes ahead and misses a stall launch. I guess this is one of the stall squares that Yomsa's, Yomsa and Crabbi have really been working on. Krabbi's going, oh my god. Oh my god, these players are just so fucking good. Oh my god.
Crabbi's put so much time into perfecting the art of the stall launch recently.
Oh man. It used to be me and Ace Bats, and now look where we are. We are but fools compared to the might of Crabbi and Yomsa doing this. Crabbi goes ahead, picks up the tape. While Yomsa... Yomsa, I don't think you have time to delay any further. She's waiting to see where Crabbi marks a square, because both of the squares on that column 1 are located kind of opposite of the exit on those lap levels, so there's no way for Crabbi to escape quickly from points 250k nor bottom point. So it is a very safe thing overall to go ahead and just kind of stall it out with this RDH square.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a little bit about kind of waiting strats emerging here in the 1v1 meta, and this is, I think, is the smartest way of doing it. Is you are close on the map, but you can still get some points. You're not just standing around waiting for your opponent to reveal, picking up what points there are on the board. Though it has taken Yomsa some time to get all the way up there. Crabbi's also been having some trouble in Kibo stall launch, so it's kind of this weird neutral state at the moment where neither player necessarily knows exactly where the other is, just because of some flubbed execution here and there. But Crabbi does finally make his way over 2 points. Still has to unlock the soul.
Yeah.
Working on finding the point. What does Yomsa do? Like, she can't stall an RDH anymore now that she's picked up tricks. I don't think she was anticipating it would take quite so long for Crabbi to pick anything up in that column 1. Does she just go for her own bingo now in Highway 0?
It's all 3 Benton, 1 Shibuya, albeit those are some slow squares in column 5.
But she has column 3.
Oh, she does. She does. That is correct. That is correct. In that case, I think they're going to trade out bingos here, which is an entirely reasonable play, and she's going to have advantage into the remainder of the squares. So this looks like a highly advantageous position for Yomsa. Crabbi is going to be stuck doing catwalk near cube if he so desires, and then has to run all the way across the map to make anything happen. Yeah. Whereas Yomsa will already be in position, mark out that special, and then pick up the 2 defaults in Sky Dino and SDPP, and that'll 1 square away this game.
Yeah, and the fact that it is 11-11 and the players are about to trade bingos, that's just crazy. But yeah, Yomsa with the better read in the late stages of the game here in order to be on the right side of the map to close this one out. She'll be able to pick up special here in Highway 0. Going for the out of bounds.
Yeah,
I mean, it's relatively... it's pretty much the same amount of time to go forwards versus backwards with the Death Warp in Highway 0, but you end up with less cans if you do the Death Warp. So.
All right, so I was about to ask, is Crabbi just going to bail from here and go towards Dark Side, knowing that he can pick up the Kogane one a little bit, and he has to do the interrupting now.
Yeah, and so the tempo swings once more in the other direction.
This has been such a good match to watch, or just game one here to watch, because it has just been really preemptive play from both sides. They're both playing what could be considered almost perfectly optimally in a lot of scenarios. As Yomsa does flawlessly there. Yeah, they will be playing all 3 games.
Highway Zero special, my beloved.
Gets a Death Warp in there with Ekla. Whoop! That's actually going to be problematic.
Yeah, no cans. You can do that jump. Well, you can't do that jump. You can do a different jump on the further rail without a boost, but it's a pretty precise jump.
Yeah,
so
both of them are very
safe
precise.
It's pretty safe to just pick up cans. If you get 10, and not 9, this is actually quite a... Yeah, this is quite a commitment of time.
Yeah, the boostless variants of this are extremely tight to pull off. Yomsa's the next source of cans is a medium at the start, but this is a huge sink of time and is allowing Crabbi to take some default square momentum
There were definitely
over here.
cans at the other end of the high street, just up on the roof, right on that first rail that would have been quicker to get, but this is fine.
Yep.
This does put her a little down on tempo, though.
Yep. There it is. Here's the bingo across column 3 for Yomsa. She locks it in. Crabbi on the precipice of a bingo in column 1 whenever he chooses, but importantly, 1 square to win. Yomsa can win with Crabbi's square for bottom point.
Yeah, I think Crabbi's just about to reveal an SDPP now.
Yep.
Yomsa doesn't need to commit to anything here on Dark Side.
There it is.
She can just rush straight to bottom point and knows she will get that uncontested unless Crabbi goes straight to bottom point after this.
Exit warp. Do it, Crabbi. Ooh, Crabbi didn't. He's going to go for floating pink cap putt. Exit warp. Oh, Crabbi's trying to line it up, but he's going to go ahead and exit Skyscraper, which is going to make this very close into bottom point should it become a race for that. Yomsa.
Looks like it might be.
Where's she going? Ooh, frame boost not enough to get Crabbi over the hump. But Yomsa's committing towards Sky Dino. So Crabbi's getting a little wigged out by this situation, which I would understand. Oop, Yomsa's missing just a little bit this game, but has been playing this mid to late game so well.
Yeah, and this is still very Yomsa favored, even though Crabbi does collect his counter bingo, because she's still better positioned to pick up Soda after this Sky Dino Soul, and then there's Floating Pink Half Pipes as well. Which actually, yeah, that's what she's going for right now. So she'll pick up Floating Pink Half Pipes, she'll be better positioned to the 2 final Benton squares, and then there's just Hikage Special left. And mathematically, I believe that puts Yomsa...
Yomsa needs any 3 squares, including that one just picked up. So any 2 here, Soda and Sky Dino, will lock this up for her, as Crabbi is just having to run all over the place.
Which does make this, if Crabbi gets Hikage Special, does make this a 1-point game on a full blackout board.
Yep, that is my favorite kind of game overall. Oh, are they why am I so nervous? I'm playing so bad. Haha, me too. This match is meaningless. The GG has been called by Crabbi. Crabbi sees the checkmate on board with Sky Dino and Highway Zero. That is game number 1 played.
And that was everything I wanted it to be.
Quinkachu Tech Lord. Is there any way we can lower the stream delay on any of these? We're at about 7 to 8 seconds. And I don't know if it's like lagged into it or something like that, but yeah.
I wonder if there's a way of setting a certain stream delay to even things out. Perhaps something we'll have to look into.
No, it's up to the whims of Twitch. Hi, Alice Noon. Welcome. Happy birthday to you. And
Hey.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the raid. Welcome to Bingo, our show match between two current best players in the tournament, Yomsa and Crabbi. Just missed an absolute banger of a game 1. But we've still got 2 more to go. So get comfy, because we got some high quality bingo here.
Very, very high quality. We're going to get the next board up in just a second after I finish tasking Twinkle2 with more tech things to do. Like doing stream delay. Smile. So, yeah, we will work towards that in just a second. Get that second board generated up, take a look at it, and see what happens. That's fine. You don't have to reboot. It's just Twitch ban Twitch. Go ahead and grab the second game, and we are good to go.
Yeah, so this was fantastic game 1 where we saw some really interesting routing decisions. Neither of them really went head-to-head at all. You know, they effectively traded bingos. They split the board at the beginning with Yomsa going into Dogen and then heading out to Kogane. Crabbi went into Shibuya and then Benton. I would love to see a board where the two of them are forced to fight head-to-head. Let's see some snipes.
Yeah, we saw a lot of fighting in the preempting part of the... Oh, good grief. This is... What the board is this? Real quick, we saw a bunch of fighting by pre-positioning and preempting moves in that last game, but they never really went head-to-head. We're looking for some violence here. We want
This board is
head-to-head via... We want head-to-head via aggressive plays and having to outspeed each other in each area. Ekla, this board is insane. Tell us about it.
So we have a full Kogane column 5 and a full Benton column 2. That is absolutely nuts. You've got 2 SDPP defaults and a Sky Dino default, as well as SDPP Air on that column 2, and 99th Tricks. That's pretty quick. You've got center structure in sewers. The real deficit to this Kogane bingo is the FRZ graffiti that sits on it, but then you also do have bottom point graffiti in Kogane. 2 incredibly strong areas here. Like, how do you make a call between these 2 areas?
I'm counting 8, 10, 12, 14. So, what you can do is sit in Kogane like a sewer rat. That's all you have to do, because if you give up the bingo in column 2 and sit in Kogane and win every Kogane square with the 3 graffitis, you will win the game.
That is Kibo FRZ graffiti, though. That's a lot of time committed.
It's a lot of time.
And then there is also Shibuya off the start. You know, there are some points to be gathered there. There's top of bus. 3 squares in Chuo, though one of them does require you to commit for that right canal default. And we will see them both into Shibuya off the bat.
I think that's very reasonable.
There's not too terribly much to take here, so I think the 2 of them are going to have to go head-to-head, and they will be heading for the tape here in Shibuya.
Neither of them opting for top of bus, expecting the other person to do it, which is quite humorous. So they're both going to go ahead and grab the tape. I don't really know how the stream delays compare, but they're going for Shibuya Grind 10. There are a lot of different ways to go about this, and Crabbi appears to be out to a lead for it, and he is going to grab top of bus, but surrenders the square to Yomsa, who sees that in time and grabs Grind 10.
That's
Crabbi.
So cool.
Whew. That was close right off the break there, so they do get the expected split. Now Crabbi is going into Hikage, whereas Yomsa opts for the Chuo play.
Right, so we got Hikage points and center floating here. Center floating, of course, way, way faster. But Chuo, as we said, there's 2 very quick souls here if your execution is on point with the tricks and air. Right canal, I imagine we won't be seeing that picked up. I don't think it's high enough priority. But for the time committed here, I think I favor the Chuo play. Like, Crabbi gets out of Hikage ahead here by just going for center floating, but picking up 2 points with tricks and air for, like I said, a pretty small commitment of time doesn't suck. Now we get to see Crabbi, though, make some kind of read by heading into Chuo.
Crabbi's going to be turning right the hell around as soon as he sees Yomsa marks tricks 30. We've got a little stream delay, so that is all that's going to be. But he does not go ahead and block Chua right canal, which is kind of a building. There are building bingos for Yomsa along row 3 and for bottom left, top right diagonal. So we haven't seen Crabbi preempt any of these yet, but I don't think it's alarm bells or anything like that currently.
Yeah, that was a strange moment there from Crabbi by heading into Chuo. It's a little greedy, perhaps just a misread there. He would have had momentum into the next area if he just left Hikage and gone straight to Kogane. But instead, the two of them are pretty closely contested, though Benton is still strong here, and it looks like Yomsa's heading to it.
Yep, it does appear that way. Crabbi going to go ahead and pop over into Kogane. So that will, with all of these threatened bingos requiring at least one Kogane square, seem to wrap up any kind of bingo threat. I want to argue that Chua play is not a bad one from Crabbi, because if Yomsa decides to Shibuya and out and go out to one of these areas with the single column bingos, you could theoretically argue that if you mark Chuo Air 4 right canal and Tricks 30 as Crabbi, you then threaten column 4 and have a whole bunch of different positions to be in.
True.
So I think that's a reasonable play from Crabbi, even if it didn't work out.
Given the game that we just saw as well, we saw Yomsa go center square into immediately leaving Shibuya Show. So it's very realistic that she tries a similar play in this game. She didn't, but Crabbi definitely respecting that possibility.
Yeah.
Chuo, and in the end, they choose to split the map and head into different districts, so it doesn't really affect him negatively. Let's see if he can get the stall launch this time around.
That's a 5. So he's just going to hold right for this one and land in the water, and then pick up Kibo under tower quickly. That's a good pickup there. Is going to be threatening the row 1, which is something that we really haven't paid all that attention to, that much attention to, but it might force Yomsa into a slightly slower area by doing Tricks 40 a little sooner. Kind of throw her off her rhythm. So we'll have to see really how the players respond to the kind of developing board that goes along here, this mid game, and how it gets played out. If it's a bingo trade or a bingo and a block or no bingos, could be.
Yeah, it really is. It's a clash of the bingos right here, because both of them have bingos that they can work towards, but they do intersect with their 99th tricks. And we will see, if Yomsa drops what she's doing, it looks like she will head into 99th Street to pick that up, and then just putting pink half pipes and on top of T-Rex on that column 2, which makes it look like a pretty strong bingo. But Crabbi does still have that full Kogane bingo on column 5, and he's currently uncontested.
Yep. Is a very slow one, though. We have to get a Kibo default, which is the only Kibo thing on the board other than Graffiti. We'd have to get FRZ Air 8, not the fastest soul. Bottom point Tricks 50, not the fastest soul. And FRZ Graffiti obviously going to take a good long while, but, it's always possible to work towards. It just takes a lot of time to develop, but it is a very good high-value play.
Yeah, it's curious because, as you identified, Kogane is the strongest area in terms of points. So he doesn't necessarily need to go for a bingo to win this game outright when there are 3 graffitis in this area, as well as just a mass of other points from souls. So his dependence on a bingo from the current state of the board is lower. So I feel like he's not necessarily afraid of giving up this column 2, and doesn't necessarily need to work towards the slow column 5, but he is in bottom point here.
With that jump to the left, Yomsa's basically conceding or guaranteeing that she's going to get the column 2, but has mostly to entirely conceded column 5. So we're going to have to see how this goes. Oh, Crabbi going for tricks here. Interesting option. I think that's very
I suppose
cool.
if you have the combo going up until that point, you might as well just lock it in.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable play, because now he can exit towards that way while also spraying graffiti and start working on the first graffiti of this game in bottom point, which I think is a very reasonable first one to go for.
Yeah, fastest of the 3 on the board. No real chance of him being contested here as well. Makes the most sense, I think, just to get this out of the way before Yomsa finally finishes in Benton Show. Possibly test that one.
So realistically, we have the bingo trade, and it's Crabby's going to lock in something like bottom point spray and then have to get FRZ area, FRZ graffiti. The advantage of the Kogane one, bingo, is that is much faster to execute as far as the bingo itself. Yomsa can get this knocked out in about another 2 minutes or so. She's going to be able to lock in floating pink half pipe, shout out to Daft7, and grab the default in Sky Dino, and then be able to bail out. And she should be able to have advantage towards at least one of these graffitis. But is that enough? I haven't done the math just yet.
I mean, there's still the very real possibility that she goes for FRZ and denies that column 5 bingo, which would be nuts.
Crazy.
But it's going to be close, because if Crabbi goes straight for it, which honestly I think is the play, given that the other square on that bingo is also FRZ at 8, he just goes straight to FRZ after leaving bottom point here. He might have the advantage to it in terms of the timing.
Yeah, it's going to be very close to see. Crabbi going to go ahead and pick up the Trix 50. Did not forget about a soul that some could consider their nemesis. And yeah, is going to go ahead and bail out. Is Yomsa. Is she going to head over to Kogane currently? Or is she going to... That looks like a turn towards Kogane.
Yeah, I like this, actually. This is aggressive, but I like it.
Hello, Yayo. Thanks for joining. I gotta bring in all parts of the community for this. It's a big, I've left it behind on I've left it behind as well on a Hundo run or NPG run. I've done the same thing. So, look, I've been there with you too.
I feel like Ney has missed that in an NPG run as well, actually.
Yep, you have to specifically go back for it. Almost every soul in the run has a visual cue to remember it and everything. It is that and Highway Zero under entrance. If you haven't left those behind, we're gonna gatekeep. You are not a real Hundo run. No, you're smarter
so Crabbi's
than
into
us.
FRZ ahead of Yomsa, who did decide to bail out of Benton and head into Kogane here. Crabbi rushing for the soul, not pre-spraying these lower level sprays. So that might actually give Yomsa a slight advantage if she goes straight for graffiti, but this is all down to how the players read each other's movements here. There's still a possibility that Yomsa doesn't go into FRZ right now.
No, there is not. Not anymore. Yomsa makes the turn, heads directly into FRZ. I think she would be going directly for the soul as well, knowing her general play style. So I really am curious.
I mean, not spraying this either.
Why are these people watching the stream but not really? They're so good. This is going to be very close. Crabbi did not, I believe, spray anything in that cube as well, which
that's real slow.
Yeah, that could provide a shortcut later in this route. That is a consequential non-pre-spray. A lot of people just spray along the route. There's the pickup from Crabbi. Now Yomsa knows kind of the situation it's in. Also, Crabbi, stop!
That's so cool. That's even cooler than the I was practicing FRZ Air 8 and I was like, I think I've come up with something pretty cool here. And then Crabbi just comes and brings that one in,
Oh my
I guess.
God.
Okay.
Why? Why are these players so good at this? Oh, Crabbi's going to take a...
You know what?
Actually,
that actually kind of works out.
Yeah. But what I want to mention about pre-spraying an area is that a lot of people just spray along the route that you're still going to have to take. Pre-spraying along the linear route to get to the back in Kibo saves 0 time. It only saves cans. Crabbi is in a horrible pain here.
Yeah, this is not a good can situation for Crabbi. He's leaving.
I think this is a read on Yomsa being 3.5 minutes without picking a square. And so now Crabbi is going to cross and go pick up Sky Dino.
This
Oh.
is so insane.
Players are so good. Now we have the stats suite that tells us all these things about how the game state is going, where everything is, and how long it's been. They have none of this info. It is so good. Crabbi, RDH? Points 40k. Okay, that's a very fast one to get upon exit.
Yeah, that's a quick soul. And it keeps him pretty much straight on the route towards Sky Dino with no real risk of being sniped because Yomsa does have to commit to this FRZ graffiti.
Yeah, and additionally, looking at win conditions and scoring, there's a mark from Crabbi. FRZ, grind 10, and graffiti brings Yomsa to 12 points out of the 16 needed. There's still a lot to go for Yomsa. And her main win condition involves this bingo right now, or picking up both sprays. But Crabbi, with 12 out of 16 needed, can lock this up with no more Kogane.
Yeah, and interestingly, picking up that RDH points does reveal that Crabbi isn't in FRZ, so Yomsa knows that she's not contested here, and she can probably infer from that Crabbi is going to block that bingo, meaning I think she just goes straight to Kibo after this, right? Go straight to that graffiti.
I do not know. She needs it, but she also needs to pick up one square elsewhere.
There is FRZ grind on them.
No, elsewhere, because Crabbi wins with the double Sky Dino and double Hikage Chuo. So she needs to block one of those and then go back into and clean up the rest of Kogane. I will be
this
right
is why
back.
We bring
losing
Ace.
from marbles.
This is why we bring Ace to the commentary, because I can't do maths. But yeah, I guess I'll fly solo for a moment here. Yomsa pretty close to finishing off this graffiti route, having a little bit of a can crisis, but fortunately the developers were considerate enough to put cans in this section. And we'll now just have the lower level sprays to go, can pick up grind 10 as well relatively quickly on the way out. So yeah, now knowing what the actual win condition is for Yomsa, I guess she has to leave, pick something up in Shibuya-cho before then committing to the Kibo graffiti. Which I think she can do relatively safely given that Crabbi is super deep in Benton right now. Right Canal remaining uncontested entirely because of that commitment that it requires. I imagine it will be Hikage points instead. It feels maybe slightly quicker. But the two of them are probably a relatively similar commitment of time overall to pick up. But she needs at least one of them. And then the Kibo graffiti. As Crabbi is cleaning house here in Benton-cho. Sky Dino points the last thing he needs here. That'll put him at 14. Having successfully... Hold on. Okay. I like this a lot from Yomsa. Leaving FRZ with just the bottom area left to spray. This is where she can go into Kibo. Okay, I was definitely expecting her to dip into Shibuya-cho real quick here. This might be just another 4D chess kind of move from Yomsa, starting up the spray here in Kibo, meaning the likelihood of Crabbi sniping her to either of these graffitis is basically 0. But if Crabbi doesn't take this bait and heads to Shibuya-cho, he wins the game. So, again, a clash of wits between these two players. This goes so far beyond my knowledge of bingo strategy. I'm so glad that we do have Ace here to help me out.
Oh yeah, I'm here to help you out. No problem. Look, the dog likes getting into trash cans, don't you? Yes, you do. And unfortunately had gotten into something, but as I see, Crabbi is just 2 squares away from victory.
Yeah, so depending on his read now, if he goes straight to Shibuya, he wins the game. If he takes the bait that Yomsa's trying to set up here, we have a game on our hands. But Yomsa is now pre-spraying Kibo, leaving surely now to Shibuya-cho, and can trade one of these 2 souls, and therefore keeps her entirely in this game with pre-spray in Kibo and FRZ.
Now, I clearly wasn't here. How much has been pre-sprayed in Kibo?
Only a little bit.
Okay, so
she
it's
didn't
not
commit too much time, but she did everything in FRZ except for the bottom section. Okay. She does have a little bit of time saved in Kibo, just by virtue of those sprays. And Crabbi is heading now into Kogane. Oh my goodness. Where does
Wow.
Crabbi go? Where does Crabbi go? I could not tell you how this game plays out from here.
Yeah, Yomsa's marked FRZ grind, so she has shown that she has been there. So Crabbi, I think, goes Kibo. Oh, team. We might have a problem.
So,
But it's
mathematically
still-
speaking, does Crabbi win with the graffiti here?
Yes. Oh, for sure. 100%. Any graffiti. Doesn't have to be the bingo graffiti or anything like that. 17 points puts him over the threshold of 16 to win. So, that reveals Yomsa's position in Chuo Right Canal. Crabbi is going to continue working on this lower section here of FRZ, but Yomsa now has to make correct reads as to where Crabbi is. We know pretty clearly Crabbi is going to be going for one of these graffitis, but which one shall it be? And even if Crabbi gets sniped into or beaten in FRZ, it still can be a skill race in Kibo because the spray counts are so similar.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that Yomsa knows that Crabbi has been in FRZ. He had to pick up air aims. So she might be able to read that he has pre-sprayed some degree of this route and maybe picking it up here and now, which is to an extent what he's doing. Which means I think she confidently goes into FRZ and beats him to this. He has way more to spray. She just has the bottom section left.
Oh, yeah.
And Crabbi has kind of a really broken apart route to finish off here. He's doing the bottom section now. He still has a lot of this lower level stuff to do on the climb up, and then still basically the full top section to do. Yomsa just has the bottom section left to do. She can get in, secure that, snipe him, get into Kibo ahead, and win the game.
It is very possible, but if Skishu happens in Kibo, which is unexpected with these players, Crabbi going in a little bit of an awkward spot. If there is any Skishu in Kibo, this becomes very, very close in a lot of regards because of how similar they are. Yomsa proceeding into FRZ and will reveal this, and so it is very, very likely that this is going to be a Kibo race for the game.
Yeah, man, this is peak bingo.
People are calling GG already. Yomsa will win FRZ Graffiti. That is confirmed. But Kibo is volatile. It's a probably 6.5 minute route. 5.5 to 6.5 minute route that has to be done flawlessly under pressure. Both of the players were talking about how they were making a lot of mistakes last game due to pressure of having to make plays. Even though this is a show match and does not matter, the nerves are there. Just, being on the main screen and all this stuff. There is a factor to this. There could be issues, and if Yomsa makes more than about 20 seconds mistakes, it could flip to Crabbi. Here we go.
All right, well, with this locked in for Yomsa, she gets out ever so slightly ahead into Kibo with a couple of sprays done as well. She has the advantage. She just needs to execute well, and this game is hers.
Now remember, we have
Crabbi's still
a lot
in
of
FRZ.
stream delay, but Crabbi is committing much longer than stream delay to this. Crabbi, have you not seen the square mark? Crabbers, not like these. Oh no. Oh no. Crabbers has not seen El No Sabe. There he does, but now all of a sudden this small lead from Yomsa is ballooning quickly into could be very, very difficult. We are getting a couple no signals on Crabbi's end, which is a little bit unfortunate.
Okay, so it looks like actually Yomsa didn't spray anything in Kibo. I did see her head into Kibo, but I guess she just immediately turned and realized that heading into Chua was the better play at that state of the game. Regardless, she is still ahead.
She is ahead. Currently 8 sprays up on Crabbi. Have either of them got the entrance medium? That's a time-costing medium at the very end of the route. Crabbi has skipped it and has missed a jump.
Ooh, that's pain. That's really rough. Oh, Yomsa having a little trouble with some movement as well here. And as you said, the pressure really is on. This game comes down to this square.
Yep. Yeah, this is exactly accurate. And now Yomsa proceeding forward with the route rather successfully. Crabbi is going to go ahead, recover into this out of this beginning area, and proceeding behind Yomsa. The spray lead is 12, but that's a lot more clustered sprays for Yomsa. We're going to give her about a 45-second lead here.
Yeah, Kibo is such a difficult route to track in terms of progress because spray count doesn't necessarily indicate just how far ahead you are. The level has a lot of sprays grouped up in certain sections, and then a fair few that are just kind of just out there, on their own, just vibing down some random ladders in holes and stuff. Not one of my preferred graffiti routes, but the two of them definitely know their way around this level.
I really like this graffiti route overall. I don't know why it is me and liking the Kibo and SDPP graffiti routes. Maybe it's just you do what you know what to do and just enjoy the route. There's not much to do otherwise. So this one is one of my favorite routes, though, and
I think
it's
once
a
you
lot
know
of
the
fun to
route,
do.
yeah.
It's just not good advantageously in bingo.
Yeah, I think learning to speedrun JSRF improved my experience of JSRF a lot, and I think the number one level that is kind of an example of that is Kibo. Kibo, I think, casually is a pretty painful level. Just a lot of it looks the same. It's really easy to get lost. It takes forever to find everything for the first time. Once you know where to go, things do kind of flow together relatively nicely, and there is some pretty cool movement as well involved.
Yep, definitely agree with that. We see Yomsa sitting at about a 55-second lead on this route. I'll have another check on that when we get to Crabbi marking these center tunnel areas. But importantly, Yomsa's one spray ahead, which I believe is the over entrance spray, which
Yes,
will
I
cost
believe
Crabbi
Margo
about
confirmed that
20
for us.
seconds to mark at the very end. So take whatever lead we have, which is 45 seconds, and give it another 20. So Yomsa sitting about a minute ahead on this route and seems to be in a poised position to take game number 2 here.
And again, it's another marathon of a bingo match. Down to the second to last square, still a single point between the players. Bingos denied on both ends after we saw bingos traded in game 1. This is a clash of the titans.
Of course, we see the bingos traded in this game where they were basically handed to both of our players. And then in game 1, where it was a lot messier, they ended up getting traded. So it's very, very interesting seeing the tactics evolve in this one. But Yomsa seems to just be running the tactics just a tiny bit better. But wow, are these players giving us some incredible bingo to watch.
Yeah, I mean, this match so far has been the best bingo I've probably seen this season. I think it's fair to say. We've had some really good matches, some really closely contested matches so far. But in terms of both the level of the two players being similar and also the quality of bingo being played, this is just so good.
Yeah, definitely can agree with that. Yomsa even doesn't get the skid spray. It's one of my favorite things to do. Crabbi now approaching the top section here, where Yomsa was about still 45 seconds ago. So she still retains that lead as the number of sprays narrow in. Has the 48, so we do have just the 2 underneath here, and the 2 underneath where the special soul spawns. So barring any, I don't know, incendiary Xboxes, this game will go to Yomsa.
The classic.
Yamsa's winning this. Nago. It is factual at this point.
Yeah, it is all but locked in.
And it is just that.
Comes in on the bingo sync. Come in on stream right here, right now. Kibo Graffiti locked in for Yomsa. She takes game 2. What a phenomenal 2 games of bingo.
This has been very good. Reactions immediately from the players. Crabbi says GG. Yomsa says diff gaffs goof gif gaffs diff gaff das.
Ooh, that was...
Yeah, there it
Ooh.
is. I didn't look at the board when I sprayed FRZ. Ooh,
When it
that
comes
was
down to
very
it,
close.
if maybe Crabby had picked up the medium above the entrance in Kibo, maybe that extra time committed in FRZ makes the difference. Because he did spend a good 20, 30 seconds in FRZ when he didn't need to be there anymore. It would have been much, much closer. But it could have turned the game. Oh,
Yeah.
man, what a game.
Yep, and we have one more as well. That's the fun part, is we do have one more. They guaranteed us 3 games.
Yes, bingo content.
Give us the content. These rock, paper, scissors boards are too complicated. All right, enjoy this one then.
Let's see what we got for game 3 then. I want to see some blood. I want to see them
Oh, there will
head
be
to head.
blood. There will be blood on this board. Look at it, Ekla.
Oh, there it is. There's the Shibuya board we've been waiting for. Shibuya Cubby, Hikage Cubby, on the diagonal together as well. We got Dogen Pass statue. We have 13 platforms. Of course.
My goodness, that is crazy.
Top of
All right.
bus, Cubby on the same row.
Yeah.
Shibuya graffiti.
Oh my god, what a crazy thing. 4 graffitis, all fast though. Okay, 3 fast. Sorry, Hikage is not. I just kind of see a green square with the Hikage or the graffiti icon. I'm like, yeah, that's fast, but it's in fact.
It is the one that is not.
Yeah.
We got Highway Zero graffiti. Thank you. And Jazz on the same column. That's my favorite column.
Now, I want to point out bottom left, top right has 2 defaults in the Shibuya Cubby, Hikage Cubby, and then Chuo Points is a fast one to pick up. And then all that's left in Benton is a double skyscraper, so it's not too difficult to... I think the difficult part is obviously grabbing 3 of those squares.
Yeah.
But if you can manage that, skyscraper pair will force positioning in a major way. Currently, there are a billion squares, 11 in Shibuya.
The head-to-head here in Shibuya is going to determine a lot of the strategy moving forward, depending on who gets what, because it just completely changes the profile of the game depending on who picks up which squares specifically. There's no one square that I think determines it. It's going to be a combination of them. And they are both into Shibuya off the start.
As expected. And Yomsa, boostless bus jump into Cubby, into on top of bus. Double pickup. Crabbi actually makes the skid. Tries to go for the reboost list to try and get the bus, but does not. And that is 2 giga quick squares over to Yomsa.
That is just... That's the best start to the game you could probably ask for Yomsa. Getting both of those in the trade and Hikage Cubby as well.
Oh.
This is what I wanted to see.
Oh, goodness. Crabby's they're both struggling to find it. Oh, goodness. Stream delays are similar. Yomsa picks up the square by a matter of just the thinnest of margins, and now Crabbi is unfortunately horrifically behind in this game.
How does Crabbi bounce back from this? That is so much board control for Yomsa. 2 squares on 2 bingos already.
Wow. But if there's a board to come back on this with, this is it. 4 graffitis, including 3 fast ones, including 2 blitz speed graffitis, could lead to an advantageous scenario that allows Crabbi to block bingos and score squares to
They're both into
win the
Kogane.
game.
And no, Crabbi is turning around and leaving Kogane.
Kogane, more like no Gane, am I right? Crabbi headed off to Benton, probably going for Highway Zero's graffiti, if I were to guess.
Highway Zero here denies the column 1. It also denies the row 4 with Soda, but that does still leave the bottom left to top right. That's actually 3 bingos that Yomsa has threatened with 3 squares. That's insane.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Gonna go ahead and pick up an unneeded soul minor dodge issue there. Now gets the O block, gets the sauna square, and now there are problems in Crabby land.
Yeah, so SDPP Air and Tricks also on that diagonal means Crabbi is well positioned to deny 3 of these 4 bingos that Yomsa has set up. 99th Special also there on the row 5. So being in Benton is... It's not the worst for Crabbi, but there's so much work for him to do.
There is. He's very far behind the block. Our time since square doesn't even mark Crabby's timer yet because he hasn't started. He hasn't marked a square this game.
3 minutes, no square.
Yeah. But he's going to go ahead, unlock SDPP Air 4, grab control of the center square, and work towards something. Yomsa headed out towards the Benton side, but is going to go ahead and maybe change course once she realizes Crabby is here.
Or does she just go straight to Highway 0?
She could.
Go further in. Because she knows with this air mark that Crabby is as far away from the rest of Benton as he could possibly be, pretty much.
Yeah, but Crabby could immediately bail and be right there. It's a long way across. Crabby's right, turning out to 99th. Ooh. Oh, Highway 0 Graffiti might put the screws on this game if Yomsa takes that read and Crabby bails out.
So with 99th Special available, it's not the fastest. And then looking at the rest of the board, there's RDH Graffiti, the Shibuya Graffiti, there's Hikage Graffiti. There's still a lot of points elsewhere on the board here. But in terms of board control, Yomsa can really put the pressure on here with the Highway 0 Graffiti.
Not just board control, but limiting out the win conditions of Crabby because he requires basically 3 graffitis to win this game. And taking away Highway 0 is going to be a very tough one here. Because that is the fastest graffiti here, Yomsa will not have to commit too long to making this work. And she'll pick up one of the essentially 2 she needs to go ahead and just win this game.
Yeah, so it's going to be the Shibuya Graffiti start here for Crabby. Kind of, his hand has been forced by this early domination, really, from Yomsa. Shibuya Graffiti is really, really fast, and then there is Hikage in this part of the map as well. Still Shibuya Special, still Dogen Special. There is also, I believe, Hikage points. I mean, how do we feel about bottom left to top right for Crabby?
Impossible?
It doesn't look easy.
Do you mean top left, bottom right?
Sorry, yeah, top left, bottom right. What?
Copium levels? Like, it might work, but it's going to be very important that he, I mean, yes, it can be a win condition. It's very possible. But Hikage points is not a particularly fast square, and it takes you away from basically everywhere else good on the map. So I think it's a real cope kind of bingo, but it may be the thing you need to win.
Right, so Yomsa finishes off Highway 0 Graffiti, now threatening a column 1, now just vastly, vastly ahead on points as well. Let's see where she goes next. Looks like she's leaving Skyscraper District, meaning there's still the potential for 99th Special to threaten the row 5, unlock Jazz's on that column 1 as well. Maybe she just locks that one in. Crabby leaving into Dogen without finishing this? Oh dear.
Crabby's breaking out the risky strats, and once you get put behind the 8 ball this hard, I think going for anything wacky is permissible. There is a distinct difference between wacky and misguided or just straight up bad decisions, but this feels like a good decision.
If he just takes our statue and leaves and gets back to Shibuya Graffiti, that's
love it.
Honestly, pretty good use of time, yeah.
I agree, because Yomsa's starting to commit into Shibuya. Let's see where she turns to. She doesn't have to spray Shibuya Graffiti, and in fact has some really poor management to start doing so. So she might head out to Hikage.
Just given the amount of time since Crabby marked his SDPP air square, and now that he's marked past statue, I think she can probably infer that he was doing Shibuya Graffiti.
And she does.
It's a relatively safe read, yeah. And now into Hikage for points 300k.
Yeah, that's the important one. Along column 1 here. Denies Crabby any diagonal bingo. But still doesn't block anything else. It's an offensive play, which, to be fair, she has plenty of capability of doing at this point.
Now, of all the squares in Hikage that you could possibly have to pick up, points does require you to go left side and then right side. The unlock is a process, and then you have to go center to pick it up.
Yes.
So you're spending pretty much as much time in Hikage as it's possible to spend in Hikage without doing the graffiti, right? So Crabbi should be able to finish off Shibuya graffiti here. Now his next read is really important, I feel. He can leave, he can go to 99th Street and pick up Jazz to block that bingo, or it's into Chuo. 0.60k in that top right corner. Right canal is a quick default as well. He is in desperate need of points, to be fair.
He is in desperate need of points. That is correct, but he's not horrifically behind. 5 to 7, still not a good spot to be in, but he is taking risky plays. He is going to have to be very responsive to anything Yomsa does, which should be about right now. So we'll have to see, wait for the stream delay, and see what Crabbi's next play is going to be.
Looks like he's still committing to Chuo for the moment.
Fail.
I think, yep, this is now where he reads the square coming in Hikage. Are the two of them going to race for Jazz, or is Yomsa going to use this pressure she's created to go and pick up squares elsewhere?
Crabbi typing in Bingo Sync chat of, is this game just flat out over? And the correct answer is yes. This game is very quickly spiraling out of control for Crabbi, unfortunately. As you mentioned, these speedy words can either be, double frame boost across. So lovely. You can either get a long drawn out game like the last two we've had, or we can have this game end in a matter of 45 seconds, and that kind of is what has happened here. Crabbi, positioned behind the 8-ball, is going to have to be forcibly evicted from Chuo, which then allows Yomsa to pick up all of those critical squares, and Crabbi's going to see this right as he starts Jazz Race.
Yes, so 0.60k. Right now here, it's really just luxury points for Yomsa at this point. She's just so far ahead that she can get away with taking pretty much what she wants right now by forcing Crabbi to respond to the bingo.
Yep.
So right now, it's going to be locked in, points on the way out, and then there's still some stuff on Shibuya to pick up. There's still 13 platforms. There is still Hikage graffiti. I would be very surprised if we see Hikage graffiti committed to in this game, just with the pace of it. Very likely that this game will be decided without need for it.
Yeah. The Bingo Sync chat has implied that Crabbi is racing Jazz and then shall concede, which I think is a reasonable play. I would give his shot of winning at absolutely minuscule from this position. It would take nothing short of a small miracle to make this happen with Yomsa going up 10 to 6 now. And that is game called by Crabbi.
Yeah, well, we got to see both possible outcomes of this match. We had two marathon games that went down to the final few squares, and then we did get the 10-minute blowout as well.
Yep. It was. They're discussing the game real quick. All of that missed bus jump, but yeah, nonetheless, Yomsa taking it a clean 3-0 on this set. Could be the kind of idea of what's to come as these playoffs for season 4 progress. We've got the semifinals next week. We have do we have it decided as to who's who?
Oh, for quarterfinals? Not quite yet. We are still waiting on the we're still waiting on the Ney versus Nago match. With Acebats having dropped out of the tournament, they're both locked for playoffs, but that game does determine their seeding and determines who they'll be playing in the quarterfinals. So, winner of the Nago versus Ney match plays Ryomi, loser plays Yu.
Oh boy.
The winners of those quarterfinals will go on to face Crabbi and Yomsa in the semis. And we just have so much more fantastic bingo to come.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Lots of very, very cool games to go be played. Lots of really interesting matches. These were great ones. Appreciate Yomsa and Crabbi for throwing them on for us. Thanks everybody for coming out. There was a lot of chat, a lot of interest. Sitting over 20 viewers for this match is really wild. So I'm hoping that everybody really enjoyed it. We can come out again for the playoffs starting next week, week of October 17th, and then see what happens.
Yeah, thanks all for coming out, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks for watching. Bye.